Coming to you live from this past Thursday, where there was a Rick and Morty live stream event at an undisclosed location, though it was clearly Starburn's castle. It was totally amazing, we were totally there, and not in any way something we lied about then or now, 3 to 5 days later. Anyway, this is Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast.
Hello, everybody. This is Travis.
Hey, everybody. This is Brandon Cruz.
Welcome to yet another episode of Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast. So happy we could have you guys back.
Fun-filled, amazing times all around.
All the goodness of Rick and Morty, and we have so much to talk about.
Yes.
So let's not waste any time doing any other formalities, like talking about our social media.
Right.
You can contact us via
on Twitter, Rick and Morty Pod. Let's not waste our time with that, Travis.
Let's not waste any time talking about Reddit and Rick and Morty podcast.reddit.com.
That's right.
Especially not our website, apatheticenthusiasm.com/Rick and Morty podcast. We just do not have the time, Brandon.
We don't have the time, especially not to mention our email, rickandmortypodcast@gmail.com, or our TeePublic store. Come on. I mean,
apatheticenthusiasm.com/shop. Nobody has time for t-shirts, Brandon. No. We have Rick and Morty news to talk about.
There's a button there if you want to go to it. You know, we're not going to tell you to go to it. There's a button there. We're not going
to tell you to support the show and buy t-shirts and vis-a-vis give us money. Like, we're not going to do that.
No way.
Brandon, you know what we do have time for? Semi-pertinent news.
Oh, semi-pertinent news coming at you today.
Oh, Brandon, it's a date that we have waited for, I think, since we started this podcast.
Yeah.
we have actual specifics about season 3. We have so much to talk about. The live stream that we made predictions for on our last episode. It happened. We were both able to watch the live stream in its entirety. We followed that up with our own failed live stream where I forgot to include your audio in the live stream.
Well, that whole thing was a little wonky. Anyway, like we should have. It was our bad because we should have done the tech test ahead of time instead of like. Okay, there was a live.
It's like, we'll throw it together. We'll just throw it up.
There was a live stream. We did it. We're done. Let's just live stream now. And then like, oh shit. We don't know what we're doing. So it's not that you forgot. It's that we didn't know how to do it and we didn't test it.
and I guess it's all for the best because there was a massive hailstorm that interrupted us like right in the middle of it, and I had to go comfort my family that was cowering in the next room. That was so crazy.
That was so crazy. And I was like, "Oh, dude, just turn your mic down, just turn the gain down." And as like I see you in the video, like running away with your family, like covering them, and like everyone's just crying and like sobbing, like snot's dripping down their nose. And I'm like. And the thing about that live stream was Dan Harmon's so funny. Oh, I hope Travis doesn't die.
I hope Travis isn't dead. And I hope he doesn't have to pay a deductible for his house. Anyway, but the actual semi-pertinent news we have to talk about is on the live stream, we got some definitive answers. First and foremost, we know what day season 3 will officially start airing on a regular basis. Sunday nights, starting July 30th. It's like a warm blanket. The comfort of knowing that date.
It is kind of like a warm blanket, but for you, maybe when it gets closer to fall. For me, it's more like an air-conditioned garage,
which you certainly don't have right now.
July 30th is an air-conditioned garage where I feel comfortable talking about Rick and Morty in the middle of the afternoon because it's nighttime for you. I think that's awesome. We finally have a day, and we talked about it a little bit on the failed live stream after event. But now we have time to plan for the actual season 3. Like there's no more of us like floundering about and saying like, "Oh, let's do another episode of random content." No, it's like, okay, now let's work up towards season 3.
Well, and that was the other thing is because the April Fool's episode was so out of the blue. We almost had that little bit of like, so not sure if they're going to announce a date well in advance, or if they were going to be like, "Hey, it's on next week," or "It's on tonight," haha. And we even like guessed whether or not they were going to have a new episode during the live stream. So, that could have happened. Obviously, they've done that sort of thing before, but knowing that we're actually going to have 10 episodes starting July 30th.
10. Count them 10. 1 episode.
1.
2 episodes. 3.
You guys can do the rest.
4.
We trust it.
Count them. 5. 5 episodes. 6. You add another one, that's 7, and then another after that is 8. Count them. 8, 9.
9 episodes.
And finally, 11 episodes.
We did question whether or not the April Fool's episode is included in the 10, or if it is 10 more episodes.
Right.
We didn't really have definitive clarity on that.
It wasn't really specified. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll set our TiVos either way. It's.
This isn't Rick and Morty related necessarily, but since it's on this podcast, it's semi-pertinent because the other day I was watching like an old TED Talk from like 2006 with this guy Simon Sinek. Anyways, he's talking about how TiVo used to be like a household name, but as a company it failed, right? It used to say, I'm going to go home and TiVo stuff, even though we're talking about like a DirecTV DVR. And anyway, that's all that. You mentioned TiVo as a household name, but TiVo went belly up years ago, Travis.
Well, yeah, that's because they tried to provide a service that, like, I don't know, once a cable company was like, oh, I can do that exact same thing and just put it in the box that we already force you to pay for anyway.
Yeah.
Then you didn't have to buy like a separate thing.
TiVo should
like some sort of interdimensional crystal that gets every episode of every television show anywhere in the galaxy.
There we go. We tied it back. Good job, Travis.
If only they could market those, I would totally be on board. Get me some Answer My Eyes Johnson commercials.
Oh my God! Did you see what I posted on Twitter?
Yes, there's that great post. Was that on the Rick and Morty subreddit?
Yeah, it was.
Somebody used like the ant traps, like ant bait, and put it on the eyes of a drawing of Answer My Eyes Johnson, and actual ants were crawling in to try and get at that bait.
Oh man, I love that image. But yeah, okay. So moving on. The live stream. We're going to talk about that a little bit more here in a second. But if you haven't gone out there yet, you can check it out on apatheticenthusiasm.com. I put out a video. You can go on YouTube as well. Rick and Morty, Anatomy Park, the game. I previewed it. I made a video. It's far better, in my estimation and opinion, than the first unboxing video I did. I did a lot more editing. I didn't script it, but I did a little bit more editing. But I pulled out Rick and Morty, Anatomy Park, the game. I played it with a few friends, a few different games. One with Chelsea, my wife, another with 2 other friends. And yeah, man, the game is solid. Travis,
that's awesome.
The game is solid.
When does the game actually come out? Is it later this month?
Yeah, it comes out July 12th from Cryptozoic.
Okay.
And
I'm super jealous that you live in Hawaii and that I don't live down the street anymore because I want to play the crap out of this game, and I'm super excited about just the premise. So I'm glad you're able to get a video out for everybody to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. So we have a video to check out, and then if you want to hear more about the game, we can talk about it on a main thing maybe, or I could talk about it more here. It's up to you.
Well, I
think we should do it before the 12th.
Yeah, there's some more Rick and Morty games out there, and there's a Meeseeks box. There's some other stuff. So maybe we just do like a main thing about Rick and Morty board games in the near future.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Let
us know what you guys think. Hit us up on all those social media outlets that we didn't talk about at the top of the show.
I just think that we should talk about it now before the game comes out. That way we can build some excitement, Travis. I think we should build some excitement for Cryptozoic's new game, Rick and Morty, Anatomy Park, the game. I think we should build excitement for it, Travis.
I think you're building the excitement, but I also am not prepared for that episode.
Travis, ask me a question about Anatomy Park, the game. Just go ahead and ask me any question.
Well, Brandon, approximately how many players can play Anatomy Park?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Travis. Anatomy Park, the game, is for 2 to 4 players. Now, in my playtesting experience, I found that it's only 2 to 4 players, but there are 6 character tokens. I believe in my opinion, that you can actually play with more than 4 players. Now, I haven't tested this theory out, but I would like to test the theory out. Come on back to Hawaii. And if you're in Hawaii now, check me out. I'll be at the Honolulu Comic-Con 28th of July for a podcasting panel. You can come out. We'll play the game together. Anyway, Travis, no, seriously, everybody, Unity, Rick and Morty, if you like board games, I really like it's tile-based. You're basically building up a park, and I played with Chelsea one time. That was kind of fun. The strategy's not exactly there, but the 3-player game immediately added just that whole new level. It's like playing Catan with 6 people instead of 4. Like it just changes the whole strategy.
The whole player dynamic and what you can and can't do to win, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyways, July 12th, go watch our video. Well, watch my video because I did it, Travis.
You're doing all the work. I'm just over here trying to move out of a freaking house.
But that's on our site, and I'll put it in the show notes too, just for shits and gliggles.
Gliggles. Speaking of that, can we get a quick plug for the podcast awards?
Yeah, so over at the podcastawards.com, I don't know if that's the website or not.
That's probably not the link.
we have our names, we've registered, and you can go out there and nominate us for best TV and film podcast. So really, this is your one. If there's one call to action in this episode, that's going to be it. Head out to the link that we're going to post in our show notes, and we have it on Twitter as well. Go out, register. All you have to do is sign up with your email, and then go down to TV and film, pick Interdimensional RSS, semicolon, because they did a typo, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast, and nominate us.
Nominate us. Let's as Unity go out and make sure Rick and Morty is well represented for the podcast awards. It's quick and easy. Yeah. Like even my wife, she did it before we were done ordering drive-through. It was super fast.
My wife did too, and I can't even expect her to listen to this podcast like in the background. So the fact that she was able to sign up so quickly is really great. And I just want to say one last thing. You know, it's not just for us, Travis and I. We're huge Rick and Morty fans. We want everything Rick and Morty to succeed. So this isn't the award isn't just for us. We want to make sure that the community is recognized as well. So just throwing that out there with that. But again,
sorry, I stood up and walked across the room because I realized my door was open.
I'm recording video of this, Travis, and I can
I know. That's why I was like, you know what, whatever. I'll just get up and leave.
I can tell you, of all the episodes we record, we always record in one straight shot, just nonstop, no interruptions. And the one time I'm fucking recording video, you get up and walk across the screen. That I have to edit it.
Leave. I'm just out. No, leave it in. That's fine. Okay. It's what we do. Speaking of things that we do, I think right now it's time for the main thing.
The main thing. That's it. Sorry.
Dancing plushies.
Sorry if that was really loud in your ears. Unity.
Yeah, no, it was fine for me. By the way, I totally got at my local Target. They have the Rick and Morty Funko plushies now.
Oh, nice.
So I know we left semi-pertinent news in the dust, but stoked to have a little bit of extra merch.
That's right.
To adorn the studio.
I used some Hot Topic bucks, and I bought Total Recall. They have Total Recall out there at Hot Topic. And then I got a new Rick and Morty wallet for those who are watching the video. You might be able to see it there. Maybe not. I don't know.
Right.
And
is that Snowball on there?
It is in fact Snowball. Yeah, there he is.
Wow.
Testicles missing and all.
All right. Well, for this week's main thing, it's time to talk about everything that is and everything that was the live stream, Rick and Morty Live. Brandon. Let's set the scene for anyone that maybe missed the live stream, didn't have a chance to watch it. Maybe they're in a distant land, a foreign country, like Canada or something like that. what exactly went down on the and I want you to set the scene because you went and saw Harmontown and you've actually been to Starburn's Castle, so you can kind of recreate the experience for us as we're listening.
Okay, if I'm gonna take my experience from the Harmontown showing, and I'm gonna imagine that this was actually Thursday that I went with my wife, and that they weren't gonna play Pathfinder D&D. Okay, so you go to downtown Burbank and you go to Starburn's Castle. You walk into this little waiting room. The security checks you out, and you walk in. After the security checks you out, he pats you down. He's like, "Get in there, you little bitch." And I'm like, "Oh, hey, guy, don't call me a bitch." And he's like, "Oh, I'll call you bitch if I want to." That exchange didn't happen, but it should have. So you walk in, and there are bleachers. It looks kind of like a Smells Like Teen Spirit video in the background. The bunch of bleachers set up. If you're watching the live stream, you see just chairs lined up, heading up to the stage itself, which that's accurate as well. And then off to the sides, either side of the stage, there are people standing room only. And then there's another room, which there's a guy, I forget his name. I apologize to him if he ever listens to this show. Just he's not selling alcohol. He's giving alcohol away. And if you want to reimburse him, you can Venmo him, because it's not illegal to give alcohol away. It is illegal to sell it if you don't have a license. That's America. It's great.
But is it legal to just happen to give him money just for the exchange of goods or services?
It's not exchange of service. It's just saying, hey, I appreciate you and I'm supporting you and all your endeavors via Venmo.
Hey,
Venmo.com, not a sponsor.
not a sponsor. All right, so bashing the mic with my phone here.
Yeah, you are.
So you on stage. Actually, it started with a cool little video of Justin Roiland doing like this crazy VR thing where he was driving driving an RC car around, and I guess that they're doing like a series of these just to do like a behind the scenes of the people that work on the show.
Yeah,
and for this one, it featured
Erica
Hayes.
Hayes.
Erica Hayes. She's a storyboard artist, and she happened to be on the stage with them. So they brought her in. So I think that's why they picked that video. But I'm hoping that like on DVD bonus features or something, we'll eventually get to see all the rest of those videos because they were pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you had Justin Roiland, Erica Hayes, and Dan Harmon, and then it was being emceed by Brandon.
I don't know his last name.
Brandon Johnson. That's
Brandon Johnson.
I wrote it down.
That's good. You did your research.
Yes. But yeah, and so Erica was doing live like storyboard drawings as Dan was doing a live script writing.
Yeah.
And then Justin was there like telling stories and being funny and doing voices.
Yeah, just cussing so much. My 5-year-old wasn't home for most of it. He was only there for like the second hour, and one of the first things he said was, "Why are they cussing so much? Why are they using so many bad words?" And I said, "Shut the fuck up."
That's because they're drunk, Dexter.
they're drunk. They're drawing it. No, by the way, I didn't tell him to shut the fuck up because why would I do that? That's a dick move in bird culture.
But they talked about a few things. They talked about the fact that the show is in fact canceled due to their constant fighting.
Yeah.
And no, they covered that a little bit. They're actually pretty transparent about certain things in the early parts of the live stream. Somebody asked something about Meeseeks, and they're basically like, "Yeah, we don't really have Meeseeks in season 3." Yeah, they're like they're not featured, and they talked about how there was
there was like one episode where they thought about bringing them back, but then the episode would have just been all about Meeseeks, and so they decided to kind of scrap that. And they didn't say what episode it was because they didn't want spoilers, but I thought it was interesting that they talked about those secondary characters that, you know, the only way they'd bring them back is if it's meaningful in some way, shape, or form. They don't want to just bring them back for the sake of it.
Right, yeah, and I really respect that decision creatively, that they're not just doing random fan service just because Meeseeks are easy to sell merchandise of, or everybody really likes the Meeseeks episode or likes those particular characters, that's awesome and that's great, but they don't want to shoehorn them in or create another episode based on them. If it doesn't drive the story anywhere or doesn't explore something different, they don't want to rehash something that they've already done.
No.
And I'm 100% cool with that. The little bits, where like in the Blips and Chits episode, where you can see a Meeseeks in the background and it looks like he's helping some guy get a new high score, and then he disappears all of a sudden. That to me is the best way I feel to kind of keep the Meeseeks in the narrative, without being overt and trying to like make a whole episode be about them. Because we when you really think about Meeseeks, it's a simple premise. Okay, help us fulfill a task, and then you disappear. You cease existing.
Yeah,
like you can't really expand on that much more without changing what they are.
Yeah,
like,
or like going into the Meeseeks box and exploring the Meeseeks box universe.
Yeah, I guess you could do that, but I like to think that they don't exist until you hit the button.
Yeah, like
that they are created in that moment, and then they cease existing once they have completed their task.
Right, like Schrodinger's Meeseeks is what they call it. So one of the other things they did after that, they wanted to try something a little bit they wanted to do experimental stuff, because they're on the stage for 2 hours. Erica's drawing like a mad woman. She's just tearing it up. And again, let's just throw props out to her over and over and over again, because I can barely draw the one ghost that I do like one time every couple weeks. And she was like erasing. Justin Roiland made her change one of the characters' arms into dicks. She just, God bless her. And I don't believe in God, but if he existed, God bless her.
One of the best things is she wasn't fully erasing them. It looked like she had like Photoshop open.
Yeah.
And she was just like hiding and creating new layers every time.
Yeah.
So like every drawing she did, I think, existed in whatever file she was building.
Yeah.
And there was just this 2-hour like series of very quick, sketches.
Yeah.
But and I dabble in a bit of drawing, but I could not imagine trying to draw nonstop for 2 hours and keep up with Justin and Dan as they're talking about whatever. And almost all of her drawings, she was either keeping up with the live story they were doing, or she was like live animating some sort of bit of conversation. So she was getting inspiration from what they were talking about too. And so good work there. That was really cool.
Yeah. And they decided, let's create a character using the audience. And one of the dudes in the audience spoke up, and he said the Kafifians, using Donald Trump's wonderful tweet as a jumping off point for a new race, a new science race.
Were you excited about that? Because I know you got all fired up for Kofifi when it was trending on Twitter. So I don't know. Has the moment passed for you, or are you still into that sort of thing?
I have a very small window of time where I'm like, I'm into something, and then I'm like, okay, now it's done. We killed it because we talked about it too much. So there's a very, very small window. So when the guy in the audience said Kafifi, I was like, I'll admit, I was like, it's better than something else that somebody else may have said. Like they could have gone really stupid, like the battery chargers. So, by the way, I'm looking at stuff in my garage. And there's a battery charger box. That's a new race of
set of earrings.
U-Haul, specifically sized and manufactured to make packing and loading easier. Asterisk. Okay.
Not a sponsor. There was a bit where Roiland, not Roiland, Dan Harmon totally went off because they mentioned Patreon, and then he went off on like Patreon more than meets the eye, and then did this whole rant about Transformers and how frustrated he was that the creators of Transformers didn't care about continuity or how much like everything should be sized in proportion, and that they just wanted to sell you toys. And he was so upset about that he made a proclamation that all Rick and Morty toys would be relatively proportioned, which is hilarious because all the toys coming out are vastly different. Like even the same lines of toys aren't proportioned correctly.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well that ship has sailed, Dan, but good effort.
Future toys. Yeah, you mentioned Dan writing stuff in the background. And I think we mentioned it on the failed live stream after event of ours, but you can almost split up into who you're paying attention to the most during a live stream. If you ever seen like a live band, for me, I always end up focusing on like one instrument at a time. So I'll like watch the drummer to see what he's doing, or I'll watch the guitarist to see what he's doing, how he's performing. And for this live stream event, I was just watching Dan Harmon just typing wildly on his Mac, just going at it and just writing the script. And somebody else may have just been watching what Erica was doing the entire time. Then somebody else may have been drunk watching Dan Harmon, or sorry, Justin, say fuck.
Just have conversations with himself as Rick and Morty.
Yeah. So I focus on Dan Harmon, just I mentioned this to you after I went to Harmontown, but there's a part of me that if you let me go, Travis, if you let me just be loose, uninhibited, I will just rant and kind of ramble, tell whatever story that I want, and that's like watching Dan Harmon write. That's how I feel. Clearly not to his level, but
sure.
Like that's kind of how my mind is similar. Whatever.
Yeah, and
whatever.
I think that maybe that I'm not going to give you this much credit, but I think that's one of the things I like about listening to Harmontown is just sort of when he just kind of goes off on a spiel and just kind of maybe takes a story a little too far or things like that, which you are wont to do from time to time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Flattery will get you nowhere.
A couple other highlights I want to hit before maybe the one low light that we can discuss about the live stream. They talked about Szechuan sauce. They talked about it very specifically and talked about, is it coming back? Like, what's going on with it? And the truth behind the sauce, if you will, kind of came out on the live stream where they're just like, you know what, that was just a joke. Like, that was something we found funny. And that's something that, like, that it was actually something that Justin Roiland really loved. He loved the sauce. He ate it. He said he ate more chicken nuggets like that year than the rest of his life or something, just because he loved the Mulan Szechuan sauce.
Yeah.
But, they wrote it into the show, but they weren't expecting it to be like the thing everyone is fixated on. It just was one of those things like when Rick runs in and is like, hey, let's buy all these 3DSs because if we buy two, then we get this cashback thing, and then we can trade one in and we get all the Zeldas and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just like this random thing that kind of the inner workings of Justin Roiland's mind and sort of the things that he gets excited about.
Yeah. Dan Harmon was saying that Roiland has a consumerist streak to him.
I would definitely say that's true.
Somebody asked a question about whether or not we'll see Taddy Mason again this season. Random question. I forget what the answer to it was, but
I think the answer is wait and see.
Oh, that's right.
They don't want to spoil things.
And then Harmon was like, "See, those are shitty questions because we can't actually answer them."
But what they could do, and this was probably the highlight for most of the folks watching, is they showed us a trailer for season 3, and we got to see a lot more clips of some of the upcoming episodes. So I wanted to roll over just a few of the highlights and talk about some of the things that we got to see in those clips. Possible themes for upcoming episodes.
Sure.
A Mad Max one. I mean, that it seemed pretty Mad Maxy.
Yeah. Or a boy and his dog. If you've ever seen that movie, it's kind of weird. It's a post-apocalyptic kind of. It doesn't have cars so much in it. But
But there were definitely cars in this trailer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess all post-apocalyptic movies kind of go along the same thing of like being in a desert, because I don't know how people live in a desert. Man, it's hot as shit in my garage. I don't know how people live in a desert. Okay.
I'll ask my mom later because she lives in New Mexico. So I'll see how she does it.
Ay, Dios mío.
we got to see Pickle Rick in more depth. The more finished animation version of a clip that I think they previewed at Comic-Con last year when it was just an animatic with Pickle Rick grabbing like pieces of rats or something and building a body out of it. I still don't fully understand how that episode is supposed to work, but I'm sure it will, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, that's going to be my next toy once it comes out, Funko or otherwise, Pickle Rick mech.
Pickle Rick. And then there was an episode with a super buffed out Summer.
Yeah.
There were actually two Summers in a particular scene that were working together to help Rick and Morty out of some sort of situation.
That's right.
So and Summer is taking it up a level in these clips. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but Summer is loved by the comic writers, and they really sort of explore her full potential in the comics, and I think they're going to continue that in the upcoming season. So excited to see more Summer.
And an extra thought about Summer, going back to the live stream just for a second, Dan Harmon does really good impressions of Rick and Morty, and they joked about whenever Justin Roiland dies of perhaps suspicious circumstances, well, Dan Harmon has a job in voice acting. But other than that, he also did, when they're live writing the script and doing these cold opens for Rick and Morty, Dan Harmon was doing the impression of Summer. he was like writing, and he's like, and oh my god, guys, just
don't you like my top?
I was laughing so hard, and nobody was there to see it. So was I really laughing that hard?
We'll never know.
Philosophy.
You should record every moment of your life, Brandon. A couple other quick things. They mentioned the Vindicators. They had some sort of beacon from the Vindicators. Yeah. So I don't know if there's some sort of hero type team that
Justice
they're
League
getting roped into. I don't know. We'll see about that.
Morty.
And then there's a bunch of
Morty has a huge right arm.
Yeah, in sort of a Game of Thrones looking type environment. So we'll see what happens there.
By the way,
there's a whole bunch of green slime versions of them. Like I don't.
There is. I just want to go back to the arm thing real quick. Look, Simpsons did it. Homer worked out his one arm for arm wrestling just with the one dumbbell, and he got a huge right arm. Simpsons did it. Sorry, Rick and Morty.
It's derivative. Sorry, it's
okay.
Why don't you go take some more time to write this show? No.
Green slime.
Yeah,
Green slime, Rick and Morty.
Green slime, Rick and Morty. It takes a lot more than that to kill Rick and Morty, but this might do it. Who knows? We'll see. I don't know. Great stuff all around. I was very appreciative of them being so candid about certain things, including their upcoming contract negotiations and whether or not there will be a season 4, depending on how much they get paid. Because it's business. But yeah, and that I want to before we close on the live stream, Brandon, I want to say that overall, I appreciate the fact that they did it, and I appreciate the fact that they were experimenting with things. But there were some moments where the experiment maybe failed just a little bit. I don't know. What am I alone here? What do you think? I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth here.
I will say that yes, there were parts of it that failed, but caveat that butt. By the way, in the clip, Summer is huge.
You best caveat that butt.
Summer, there's a real quick clip where Summer is she's enlarged, and then her butt comes out of the garage. Oh man, that butt. Ooh, what you gonna do with the big old butt? Okay,
Percocet, Molly Percocet. That was the other trend from the live stream.
Anyway, so yeah, it did fail. It did fail at parts, but the caveat is that I think it was so funny to me still, because they were up there just doing their thing. Like they knew that they were gonna have just like random like downtime parts where they just It's like when you tell a really bad joke, or I do, that I know it's bad. Oh my god, that I know it's a bad joke, but I'm going to see how long I can pull everybody with me for it. And then at the very end of it, I'm the one who's laughing still at everyone else who's wasted their time. There's a part of me that feels that way about the 2 hours.
I enjoyed it, and even in those moments, there was still great stuff to kind of pull out of it. But I did find it funny when there were times where like Harmon was directly responding to the fact that the crowd was not invested in what they were doing, and so he just randomly write crazy stuff in his script, or they just kind of just rolled into just doing cold opens because people were just kind of like, all right, what exactly is happening in front of me?
There was one part when they were doing the cold opens where Rick and Morty are in like Louisiana, and then Harmon just writes that Rick pulls down his pants and shows his dick to Morty.
It's like whatever we could do to keep him engaged.
Yeah.
We got to keep the audience with us here.
Cheap laughs. That's anything for a laugh.
Overall, good times had by all, and we really appreciate Adult Swim setting that up and live streaming it for everybody to be able to check out.
Yeah.
So I don't know, are they showing it like again? Do they have it up on YouTube? Do they have it up on AdultSwim.com for people to check out if they missed any of it?
I've seen links for it in the Swift posting site and even on Reddit. So I'll go find the link and I'll put it in our show notes as well.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, if you got a chance to watch the live stream and you have something that you think we missed or we didn't discuss, definitely hit us up over on Twitter or over on the website or rickandmortypodcast.reddit.com, and we will continue to talk about the live stream as we get ready for July 30th and 10 episodes of Rick and Morty, 100 years, 97 years, Rick and Morty, rickandmorty.com. 9 more seasons? 4 more seasons. Szechuan sauce. Until then, it is time once again for listener suggestions and short outs. And we don't do music for this, so we could just go right into it.
That's right. We have a few new reviews. Kari Sims, because there's 2 M's.
I think it's Karis.
Karisims. She says that we're hilarious. Thank you.
Yeah. She actually wrote like I'm assuming Carrie is a female.
Yes.
Wrote a long review saying not only is this one of my favorite all-time shows, these 2 guys are perfect to fill the hosting seats as they take us on a journey through time and space and some wubba lovin' sci-fi adventures. Season 3 is almost around the corner, so glad there's a funny podcast to listen to and enjoy the show all over again. Thank you for your genuinely awesome review. And then Amy in Oklahoma says, love this, great content.
Yeah, great. Also, Go Thunder, whoever you just got for the Oklahoma City Thunder, Steve.
Paul George.
I knew it was a 2 first name person. It could have been like David John in Oklahoma City.
Yep, LeBron Kobe, that's his name.
And finally,
2 first names.
Finally, over on Podbean, we got a review, and the review says, "Ooh-wee, I think this little poopy head loves this show." I just want to say a special shout out. The person who wrote that didn't leave a name, but I can tell you from personal knowledge that Brandon Cruz. Thank you so much for writing a review for your own show on Podbean.
Did you do that? Is that your review?
Yeah. I'm so glad you wrote that down for listener suggestions and short outs. You just shorted me out.
Well, thank you for every review matters here on Interdimensional RSS. So make sure you get your reviews in. Thanks to everybody that hit us up on Twitter, especially during the live stream. And it's honestly, we love just talking about Rick and Morty with you guys every week, even between these episodes, and we'll have so much more to talk about as season 3 gets closer and closer. Hit us up on all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think, is that it, Brandon?
Yeah.
Did we do it? Did we make another podcast?
We did. I just have 2 more notes to say. Everyone who keeps sending in artwork to us, awesome. We'll keep retweeting that stuff out because we just love the fandom and everyone who's actually doing the artwork. That's great. I can't do it. I've tried. I just fail miserably. And then that's the second thing is, remember, head out to our YouTube. to check out Anatomy Park the game. It comes out July 12th. Again, really fun game. And I think that'll do it.
Podcast Awards at whatever that link is.com.
That's right. Podcast Awards, Anatomy Park the game, and what was the other one? Oh, artwork. Send us artwork. Art.
Do art things. All right, guys. Until next week, I'm Travis.
And I'm Brandon.
Thank you so much for listening. And you're still Brandon. I think there's a delay on your video. I think that's the problem. That's how you say Brandon.